Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to do a reboxing for a recent Kickstarter arrival from IB Studios. This is the Moonrakers Titan Edition, and I've packed all the new materials and the original Moonrakers materials into this big Titan box. So if you're curious to see how I reorganized everything, stay tuned. All right, so you may have watched the unboxing that I did a few days ago, and you can see more details there, the back of the box and all those others, the side of the box and things, but I want to focus today's video on how I organized what's inside. So inside I have the new materials and also all of the original materials from the first Moonrakers Kickstarter. So on top I just have the two little ads for Fractured Sky and Luminor, and then I've got this little graphic novel that came with the first Kickstarter, sort of giving the backstory behind Moonrakers. I've got the original Moonrakers rulebook next, and then I've got the armory and dispatch boards that again came with the original Moonrakers right underneath that. Then below that we've got this little plastic tray which you can remove. For now I'm just going to keep it in. I'll also show I've got this little foam here, and this came in it. And I think that is where you can put the neoprene mats if you order those. I didn't get the neoprene mats, so I'm just leaving the foam there to hold everything in place. Next on the list, I've got the little player boards that came with the the original Moonrakers game. And so those are there. And I do have a review of Moonrakers as well, the original, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link up above. And then underneath that, I've got the 3 new expansion books. So we've got Binding Ties, Overload, and Nomad. Now I also have a couple of the mini expansions in here, and I'll talk about those as we come upon those contents. Next up, we've got, like I showed you, this tray that comes out. I've got 2 sets of dice. I got the original, and then I did buy an extra set. Just makes it a little bit easier if you're playing with 5 players to have a set on each side of the board. I've got the metal coins here from the first Kickstarter right there. I got the original ships, and then you get new ships with, I believe it's the Nomad expansion. And one nice thing, couple nice things about these new little expansion books, right inside the front cover you can see all of the new material that came with it. And then obviously it's going to have all the rules, but early on also in the game setup, it shows you down here in the corner the little symbol on the cards that show you these cards are from this expansion. So the Nomad expansion has this little double bubble look on the bottom of the card, so you can follow that along. So the Nomad expansion though has this navigation board, which I'll show you in a minute, and that's why we have now a new set of ships. And so that's that. And then I've got these little, I think they're called Iosphere. I believe that's in the Binding Ties. Nope, must be Overload. I haven't played any of the expansions yet. So yeah, these Iosphere tokens are part of the Overload expansion. And again, if you flip a couple pages in, you can see that these all have a little design in the bottom corner that's highlighted here to be able to pull those cards out if you get them mixed in at some point. So a couple little nice features about those rule books. And so that's everything on this part. Now down here we've got reputation tokens. So let's see, is that the Binding Ties? Yes, we got the reputation faction tokens to be used on these reputation terminals. And so we've got those there. And there's 4 here for each color, and then there's 1 apiece here. We also have these little negotiation trackers, and these are nice little metal ones. So there's also that negotiation board that I mentioned, and I'll go ahead and start pulling the boards out now and talk to you about those. So down here at the end, we've got, first off, the 5 reputation terminal boards for each of the 5 players to add to their other personal player boards. So those just fit in there. It's a little snug with this foam, but it fits pretty well. And then we've got this new prestige board that has the original one, or 0 to 10, and then over here the 0 to 15. And I believe for one of the expansions they recommend going to 15. And then we also have, this is the negotiation board. So this is where you can use these little metal pieces to say, hey, I'm negotiating cards, I'm negotiating money, and you can use those plus these little plastic tokens to move around and kind of keep track of who's negotiating which things. So, you know, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, who's contributing prestige or who's claiming prestige if they contribute to the battle. and who's claiming cards if they contribute. So that's a little bit of kind of quality of life thing for the game. And then we've got this one, which is that navigation board for Nomad. And this is where you use the second set of ships to show where on these different planets you might be flying around and trying to accomplish things. And so all of those boards just fit right down in here. Now, I think I've organized this the way it was intended, or at least pretty much, but I'll show you how I did it. So down on this end, there is a little tray that comes out. So in that tray, I've put all the cards that you would use all the time. And there's a little sticker here that you put on, and it shows you this is where you're going to have sorry, actually, these go to this row and these go to this row. So there are no stickers for this one. So the way I put it in on this side is I just have all the miss cards right here in the very back. And then I've got all the reactor cards next. And then I won't pull them all out, but then there's thrusters, and then there's shields, and then there's the damage cards. And now those are the original ones. And then down here in the bottom, I just put the player aid cards. Now, after I got to the damage cards, then I went on into the new reactor plus cards. And so these say 2 actions plus a card, so they're advanced reactor cards. And so there's 2 different kinds of advanced reactor cards. There's those, which are, like I said, 2 actions plus a card. So I put those there. And then right next to it, these are the other advanced reactor cards that have now plus 3 actions. And so I don't know which expansions bring those in specifically, or if you can use them all the time. Then these are the advanced thruster cards, 1 type, 2 cards plus an action for those thruster cards. And then right beside that, I have the other advanced thruster cards, which are plus 3 cards. And they all have this little advanced action symbol up in the top corner. And then next up, I've got the advanced shield cards, so block 1 hazard and plus 1 action. And then right next to that, the other advanced shield cards showing block 2 hazards. And then in the bottom section here, I've got the advanced damage cards with plus 2 damage and plus 1 action. So I just put all of those towards the bottom. So I've got the standard ones up here, and then the advanced ones here, and then the player aids down at the bottom. Now this is where in this row we see all the normal playing size cards. And they are organized from base game down through all the expansions. So up in this top part, I have the contract cards. And so these are all here shown in their order. These are the ones from the base game. And you can see the symbol with the little diamond there to show that that's contract. And then we see a little symbol there for crew. Now these are the hollow foil crew that came in this new Kickstarter version, or I think it might have been an add-on. So I've taken all these hollow foil crew members and put them here in this original crew section. And I put all the ones that actually were from the original game down here in this bottom. I didn't want to get rid of them, so I just put them there. And next up I've got, I believe this is the Binding Ties expansion. So here are the new contract for Binding Ties, and they have the little symbol down there in the corner. And that little symbol also is shown right here on the little sticker. And then next up is the new crew for Binding Ties. And again, little symbol down here in the corner. And so I put those in there. And I won't pull out all of them now, but these are the new contracts for, I believe this is Overload. And then these are the new crew members for Overload. And so you can see kind of the purple color and the unique shape there. I don't know how well you can see those colors or shapes on the video. And then it's the Shard, I believe, expansion. And so the Shard expansion has just a few contracts and then just a few new crew members. And then I believe the bottom one here is Nomad. And this has quite a big selection of new contracts. And then, again, some more. Oh, actually, this expansion only has contracts of the regular size cards. So then this is another mini expansion. I believe this is called Endless expansion. And so I just put those right there. So again, we've got the base, we got Binding Ties, Overload, Shard, Nomad, and then Endless. So all of those cards go there. Have some extra sleeves there, and like I said, those are the original player cards. And we get to these little square cards. Again, it's base game followed by Binding Ties, Overload, Shard, Nomad, and then I've got some extra sleeves. And then these are the ship parts down here. Up here I have the ship parts, and you can see there's a little ship here with a little diamond there. So these are the hollow foil ship parts that again were available as part of this new Kickstarter. So I put all of these new ship parts with that hollow foil style print up here in the top, and then the original ones that are regular print just down here out of the way. And then here I've got the objectives, so which have the little diamond there to match the little diamond. So these are the objective cards from the original game. And then again, we've got Binding Ties ship parts and Binding Ties objectives. And then we've got Overload ship parts and Overload objectives. Then we've got the Shard just has ship parts. And then we've got Nomad ship parts and then Nomad objectives. And then down here at the bottom, we've got Nomad events, which is again not something new, part of this Nomad expansion, the event cards. And so that is how I've organized all of the cards. So again, just putting things away to help you see how I did that. I've got the negotiation board, I've got the new prestige board, and the Nomad exploration board there. And I just usually put those in first, right up against that foam. And then the 5 player boards that are for the new reputation tracking. And I just put those right in there. And they fit kind of snug, but I don't think they're really scraping on anything, so that's good. And then I put the tray back in. Now the tray is just a little wider, and I don't know if it's because I've snugged all those in. If it's pushing this end, it sticks out just a bit and a little on the side, so you kind of hear it rubbing on the inside of the cover when you put it back. But I don't think that's going to cause any problems. And then the 3 new expansion rule books. I just found if you kind of nest them in alternating order, they fit a little bit more snugly down in there. So I do that. And then we've got our 5 player boards. They're starting to warp just a little bit, so I'm going to put them face down now to see if that maybe helps them settle a bit. And then I've got the original Armory and Dispatch. Those go on top. And then rulebook, graphic novel, all of the different ads, and that fills it up. And so that is how I organized Moonrakers Titan Edition. You might be able to hear that scraping a little bit, that plastic kind of scraping on the end here. If you have those neoprene mats, it might not push that plastic out quite so much to the end. But hopefully you enjoyed that, seeing how I organized it. Maybe it's helpful for you, or if you're considering doing an order of this Titan Edition and didn't back the Kickstarter and just wonder how it might kind of put everything together or fit everything together, that's how I organized it. So hopefully that was helpful for you. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. And it'd be terrific if you choose to subscribe to the channel as well. If you have questions for me, leave those in the comments down below, and I'll be glad to get back to those and answer them for you as I have a chance. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy Indiana, signing off.